Hello, folks. Oh my goodness, bringing you another stories from mamas. We got a good one today. Okay, we are, and that can be any kind of siblings. It can be blood siblings. It could be siblings by choice or marriage or whatever.
Hey, friend.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. I see you are in the mom, kid, child
I,
area.
I am, and I don't think it's gonna work now that I'm sitting here.
Oh my goodness. Okay, today though, I was just talking about sibling relationships. We're going to talk about sibling relationships and the different ways that siblings can look, whether that's siblings by blood, siblings by marriage, um, step siblings, all of that. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, so that's what I'm looking forward to talk about today. Are
Oh,
you are you
yeah,
set, friend? You gonna try to
girl,
make it work?
we're gonna change locations. The rug is not working with me today.
This is mom life. Okay,
Mhm.
this is
What
mom
she
life.
said.
While you get settled, I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about what my morning looked like. And listen, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But I remember I had a patient where one day I just came in and I was like, whew, let me just take a minute and reset before we get started. And she's like, I remember something where it was like that 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5.
Mm.
And that's literally my life every morning is getting up, making breakfast for myself, food for the kids, sitting down having breakfast with them, walking the oldest to the bus stop, getting the little one off to dropping him off to school. Like that is literally I do like 20 tasks before 8
Oh
a.m.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And then, you know, then actual life and work and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
and I know you get it because you do a lot before like 4 a.m.
I would say a lot. It's yeah, it's not. Yeah, maybe.
Friend, waking up at 3 o'clock is a lot, okay? Because I would definitely snooze that alarm.
And I do a time or two. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Was it Wednesday? I slept through everything.
Oh,
Everything. Every client I had, I just had to text people and apologize, like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to tell you except I'm sorry because I was knocked out.
well, I'm glad you are here today. You were not knocked out for this morning because we are bringing y'all stories from mamas with your wonderful co-host Jasmine Mitchell, and then of course me, Dr. Sha'Rose. Um, Friend, we got some. I mean, okay, let's start at the beginning. When did you meet your siblings? I mean, how many siblings do you have?
I have one. The when did you meet them kind of threw me. What do you mean?
Listen, okay, because I have 5 siblings.
Mm,
So I met, my youngest sister is only 12, 13.
gosh,
Okay. So I was a whole adult when I met her.
heard. No, so my sister and I, we're exactly 2 years and 9 days apart. My
Okay.
birthday is on the 10th, hers is on the 19th.
Okay.
Mhm.
No competition there. Uh, uh okay. So you have the one sibling. I have 5. I have 2 sisters, 3 brothers, and my older sister's 4 years older than me, 4 years younger than me, brother. Oh, math. Um, I was 14 when my other brother was born, 16, 17 with the other brother, and the youngest sister, I was away in college.
Oh,
So, yeah, so I have these siblings. We call it the two sets, my older sister and my younger brother. We were in, ride or die, kind of. I was always the oddball. They had a better relationship, and even still to this day, have a better relationship than I have with them.
mm,
Um, but it was the 3 of us. Then my mom got remarried, and then my younger siblings. So we like to say, I have a span of relationships with my siblings from like peers to almost mom
yeah,
figure with
yeah,
my younger ones.
yeah.
Um, which is interesting. Like, did you, with 2 years apart, did you feel like you had, and you're the older sister, correct?
Yes.
So did you feel like you had to raise your sister at all, or like be that figure for her?
I won't say I felt like I had to raise her. Um, However, there was this overwhelming pressure. Like my parents were always like, "You're the oldest. She's looking up to you. You've got to be the leader. You've got to set the
Mm.
example." Even as she got older, and started her little party in college life, she's only doing that stuff because you did it. Like,
Oh.
what are you talking about?
Everything your fault.
Yes. So it was a lot of, it wasn't raising her, but there was a lot of responsibility to be this authority figure and this perfect example of what I guess a woman should look like from a
Ugh.
very early age. Yeah.
Boo.
And
Listen, I was second oldest, right? I have a sister who's 4 years older than me, and she did not have those responsibilities. Like, I felt like I raised my younger brother, the 4 year younger brother, because we had to take care of him. We had to look out for him, you know? It's just you two girls, and you got your younger brother. You got to look out for him, and, oh, don't hit him back when he hits you. He's just a baby. He doesn't know no better. And somehow I became the more responsible one. I like praise and I like attention. So there's a reason why. But, middle child syndrome. Uh, but I became the responsible one, and I had a lot of resentment towards my sister for it.
mm,
Like, it's funny. Me and my husband were talking about this the other day. He's like, first of all, when he first met me, he's known me more than half my life at this point. He didn't know I had an older sister. He didn't meet
mm.
her for 2 years. I didn't talk about her for 2 years into knowing me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she just didn't exist. Like,
Why?
because at that point she had moved out, and she was in her own life, and I was so mad at her because I was like, how the hell did you get out of being responsible? Like, you're literally the oldest. How is it that I'm the one who has to watch the younger kids? I'm the one who has to get the good grades. I'm the one, so my relationship with her was so bad, and I was just so mad at her because she fucking got away with it. Like, how did you get out of the older sister duties and it fell on me?
Hmm.
And then I had to be that example. I had to be the one who was, the role model and all that stuff. When that wasn't supposed to be my job. I was supposed to be the wild one, middle child that could do whatever I wanted. And people were just like, "Oh, Sha'Rose is just Sha'Rose." That's what I wanted.
So were you? Did you have to be the responsible one even before she went to college?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So when
How
my
did
mom
that happen?
would leave us, it would be like, "Oh, take care of your sister and your brother." To me. Hmm.
Was your sister just irresponsible?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Like,
Mm,
yes.
mhm,
Some could say
mhm.
even to this day, you know. Uh, some could say I'm some. But
I'm so it's hilarious.
yeah, she was because there she's the first. My mom was super young when she had her, and there was just this dynamic of like they grew up together, literally. Like, my mom was still a child in raising her, and she felt like she did so many things wrong that the guilt of all of that let my sister do what she wanted. But then
Mm,
she was like, "But I do have to be a mom, and I have to have some responsibility in this house. Where's that gonna fall?" And it was me. I was the second one. She was a little bit older, a little more mature. You do things different when you have another child. Um, so yeah, so with me, I took on a lot of those responsibilities and things like that, and she didn't have to. So there was
mm.
a lot of resentment towards her. And also, I hold on to this even though I know it's stupid. But she told me that any boyfriend I got, she was going to take them. Yes, we were in middle school, and I still hold on to this because I was like, "Excuse you? Any boyfriend I got, you're gonna just take him because you just think you fine like that?" Like, I mean, she was cute or whatever, but still,
Did
that
she take
really
it? Did she
no,
take it?
she
Oh,
did it. It just hurt
okay.
my feelings. It really hurt my feelings. Clearly, to this day, I still think about that.
Okay. Well, I can see where a little bit of resentment and strain comes from.
The crazy thing, though, is our whole childhood, we didn't have this relationship, and it all shifted and changed when I got pregnant.
Hmm.
All of it. It's crazy. She became such a good sister and aunt that I was like, where the hell was this? Like, where was this when I needed you? And like trying to figure stuff out. Um, and I get emotional about this because I really like, I really was like, me and my sister will never have a relationship. My mom used to be like, I just want all of my children together. I just don't understand why y'all can't fix this. And I'd be like, fuck that hoe. I don't care. Okay, I didn't say that to my mom because I never cussed like that for my mom. But in my head, that's what I was saying. Like, how dare you think that I would be in the same room with
That's funny.
her? But now to look at our relationship, like we took the kids to Florida for spring break, and I stayed at her house.
Oh,
That would
wow.
never have happened. So when I became a mom, there was a there was a switch that flipped, and she was like, "Oh, I'm an aunt," and there's something about that role that really was like she stepped up to it. Um, and then when she got pregnant and unfortunately miscarried,
Mhm.
she really I think understood the role of a mom
Mhm.
and that loss. And that's honestly how we've been able to build our relationship to this point. But yeah, I couldn't stand her.
Mhm. Oh, that's so crazy. It's crazy how children can shift relationships like one way or another, but it can shift things, and a lot of times you don't even see it coming. Like it's so unexpected. It's crazy because I had a completely different experience when it came to my sister, but I won't jump there. Like growing up, we were 2 years apart. I apparently I did not like my sister when I was younger. I kind of remember like us having a strained relationship when I was little. Um, I couldn't tell you why because I was
Mm,
little. But honestly, I think it's because everybody was just in awe of her. Like if you've ever seen my sister, she's like my son. She's high yellow.
mm,
She's got these crazy green blue eyes. And then this like my son, this curly blonde hair.
yeah.
And so everybody's always like, oh my goodness, she's so pretty, she's so this, she's so that. Um, and I guess it was just the fact that people just didn't talk to me because it was always her,
Her.
her, her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, but as I got older, I remember in trying to have my own relationships and friendships, and there was always this include your sister, take your sister. It
Yes.
was never that I was just allowed to like have my own space, and yeah, then I was demonized for it. Like you don't want to take your sister anywhere, you don't want to hang out with her anywhere, you don't want to do this. It's like why can't I do my own thing? Like why can I not be an
Mm.
individual and have my own space and experiences? Um, but anyway, like we actually didn't get to spend a lot of time together in our like later childhood years. So I went to, when we, I she went to boarding
Mm.
school for high school for a couple of years. So she was gone for a very long time, and then it's because she just wanted to go, and
I was gonna say that is highly unusual.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
she just wanted to go, and then I left for college. By the time she got back, she ended up doing her last year back in Huntsville, and I was at college. I was gone. I
Mm.
was doing my own thing, um, and like ever since then, we just kind of we saw each other. We didn't see each other. We saw each other. We didn't see each other. Um, but I mean, I do remember like towards the beginning of my college experience, I did try to include her in certain
Mm.
stuff. But my sister, she was a wild child. Like my parents, they like to look at me and be like, Jasmine, you do too much. But like I vividly remember incidents where I had to like go save my sister from the
Oh,
cops. They're about to impound my car that I let her drive.
Jesus.
Like I remember her wanting to come hang out with me one night, and she is like shit faced drunk and had to go home. And I'm like,
Oh.
what are you doing? Like, you got it. and having to take her back home and pray to God she goes straight to her room and not everywhere else. And um,
Oh.
but it was always, Jasmine, this is your fault. Like you let her do
Mm.
this, yada yada yada. Um, and so then I moved to Atlanta when I was like 23, 24. I don't know. I don't remember. Um, she came to visit me like once or twice down there, and everything was cool. And then, I came back. I don't know. It's just always been a strain. Like I couldn't tell you exactly why. But
Mm.
then when I got pregnant, I told her, because I was like, hey, like I can't think of anybody better to share this experience with than my sister.
Yeah.
Um, and she was supportive, as much as she could be from a distance because she didn't live in Huntsville anymore. And I remember having Jordan, and then the day I got home, she texted me and was saying, "Listen, I gotta pass through Huntsville," and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" It's like absolutely come. You can stay at the house.
Yeah.
We already have people here, but I was like, you can come. You can meet Jordan. He's like new. He's like 3 days old at this point. And I just remember being so excited to share that moment with her, and it was nice. Um, However, after that, things just really kind of shifted
Mm.
again. It became very much like, oh, you got to be the center of attention. Everything's been about you for the past year. The baby shower,
Mm.
the gender reveal, the baby blessing, like, and it was just weird. Like, what is your issue with this time,
Mm.
of new motherhood? Like, why is this so upsetting for you? Like, what is it about it?
Yeah.
And I mean, we have not really recovered since then.
Mm.
We had a little we my husband says that we go through this like thing every year. Like, well, we're trying to, work on our relationship and reconcile. And it's usually me keeping my mouth shut and just letting things be, not
No.
us coming to any type of agreement. Um, but this past time, I was like, because she was just really, I expressed to her that I was a little disappointed that, we hadn't spent more time
Mm.
together. In these past couple of years since Jordan's been born, the times that she has come, and she has stayed at my house, but it's always because she's got something going on or she's out visiting friends. It was never, oh, you got this small child, like let's sit in the house
Yeah.
and let's hang out. And so I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to like sit and be together in this time. And she didn't take that well. She very much she went off on me, and again it turned into everything's about you and you don't know
Mm.
how to be a good sister. And um the boundaries that I had to eventually set in place about my household, and
Yeah.
the access that she had to me and certain things because of the way that she was using my home
Mm.
was, and she didn't like it, and she completely went off. She don't talk to me. And yeah, and I was just like, I'm not doing this with you
Uh,
anymore. Like I want to have a relationship, and I want you to have a relationship with your nephew, but it's not going to be at the expense of me.
oh,
Um,
that's too real.
yeah.
That's too real. It's interesting because you said something that, you know, talking about in your youth, right? And everybody like, oh, she's so pretty. She has, these features and things like that. That is, I feel like, such a common thing that happens with siblings, um, but especially little girls.
Hmm.
It's like my sister, I was so jealous of her. Like, she'll say now, I mean, I know she's jealous of me because like I look good, but I remember like she was tall. Okay, I'm the smallest one in my family. I have 5 siblings. Even my younger ones are taller than me. They remind me every time I see them. So I was the short one. She was just, her skin is so dark but so beautiful, and she was just beautiful. Her skin was flawless. I had all these pimples and stuff, and she was gorgeous, but she had a terrible attitude. People would literally say to her, "You're absolutely beautiful, but you're so ugly inside."
Mhm.
But I would be like, "But she's beautiful," and I would have a little bit of that jealousy because I just didn't see myself as beautiful the same way I saw her.
Yeah.
And and I look at it now and I'm like, is that a part of parenting where like we have to be the person that's like helping our kids understand that,
Yes.
you know?
I do think so because now that you say it, I do I know like my skin is glowing now, but that was something I always struggled with. Like the moment I hit puberty, um my skin was sideways. I want to say from like early elementary school, like right before middle
Mm,
school. I
mm-hmm.
dealt with really bad acne. And it wasn't just my face, it was like my
Oh,
body, my arms, my chest, my
yes.
back. Um, and so of course having people always like praise and compliment her and things like that. But I even remember coming home, um there being comments made um about my skin
Mm-hmm.
um from her that was never corrected, like, oh, that's gross. Like, when I'm trying to work through different medications or things to try to resolve the issue, oh, that's
Yeah.
gross. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to help you rub this stuff on your skin. It feels weird and yucky.
Oh,
And it just, so yes, and I do, and I remember my parents being there and there never being a correction for it. And so
mm-hmm.
you do build up that, like, you do have this feeling, oh, well, maybe it is gross. Like, maybe I am disgusting. Like, maybe I'm not as pretty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it is a parenting responsibility
Yeah.
to make sure your children know that, yeah, yes, different, but both
Beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, and for me, I remember like that being such a vanity thing. Even my mom now talks about vanity, just like I'm not that vain because I was like, woman, I put compression socks on so I don't get varicose veins. Okay, and I love my compression socks. It's not just because I don't want my legs looking like little spider webs. It's because it's painful too.
Yeah.
If I can prevent it, I will. So vanity was always a thing like growing up, where it's like, well, you shouldn't care what other people think. You shouldn't worry about someone thinking you're not beautiful because why are you so worried about that? I'm like, because we are, okay? I want to be told I'm pretty and beautiful and a princess too, at certain times. And so having two kids where my oldest is a little darker than my youngest, honestly, is so funny because my my youngest came out and we were like, who is this white baby? Okay. Like my oldest was light and we thought he was so light, but in comparison, no, he was so light with this jet black straight hair. Whose baby is this? Like, whose baby? And so and he comes to, and I mean, I've had people gasp, like, oh, he's so cute, while understanding. And I've had my oldest be like, well, he's not brown like us, you know, and having to have those conversations of like, well, no, baby, he's still brown. He's still a black boy the same way you are. He's still, part of my family. Brown can come in all different shades and blah, blah, blah. But making it a point to have those conversations, especially because yeah, my darker skinned son is going to go through life a little different than my lighter skinned son,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I can't control that, but I can control how they see each other, how they support each other,
Yeah.
and the beauty that's found in all of it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, why am I like a waterfall today?
Because it's hard. It's hard because you can remembering the struggles that you went
Yeah,
through and knowing that I can prepare you, but I can't prevent
right.
it. Um, Even with my son, so something that my sister and I struggled that we dealt with, um, colorism is a
Yeah.
thing. And I don't, whatever, and I know every end of the spectrum, there are challenges, but I remember people telling my sister more than me, but myself included, well, y'all aren't really black. Like, what are
Oh,
you? And it's just
yeah.
like, well, yes, we are, but like you're going through this kind of like identity crisis as of I remember because we did not know my father's lineage, like his history, because he was adopted.
Right.
Um, and so there was always a question of, well, yeah. I think, you know. And then finding out his mother was Caucasian, but his father was
Mm.
black, you know, like, and then for a moment of time, it was like, well, okay, like maybe I'm biracial. Like, what do I sign on this sheet of paper? Like, do I hit other? Like, you go through this whole
Ugh.
identity crisis.
Yeah.
Um, but then I know for myself, it took me a while, but I finally just was like, I'm black. Because at the end of the day, they see me as black. That's a reason. I'm gonna leave it at that. They see me as black,
And
and
that's
they
it.
it doesn't matter what else I got in me. When the things go sideways, they gonna put me over here with these black people. So that's what I'm gonna be.
Yes. But yeah, and it is on the parents, right? When we're talking about like sibling relationships, I would get so mad at my mom for saying stuff like, you know, well, I want you to spend time with your sister. I want you to whatever. I want you. And it's like, but it's your responsibility to make it a safe place to do that stuff, to have these conversations, to let us know, talk about, yes, the different skin tones and, you know, understanding that stuff. It is their responsibility, you know, to do that and foster it, because me and my sister now with our relationship, we do great until my mom steps in the room. When my
Mm,
mom steps in the room, we revert back to those teenagers where I'm just like, well, stop touching me. Why are you looking at me? Ugh! It literally reverts back to that, because that's the energy that she expects from us and wants from us. And it's like my husband will say every time, he's like, y'all literally were just like kikiing and laughing and hugging each other. Your mom stepped in here, and then now suddenly she's all kind of this and that, and you can't stand her. And it's literally that energy shift of the interactions that she encouraged in us as we were growing up, and where we feel like we need to, how we act with her around.
you know, it's funny that you say that. I was reading earlier this week. There was a study done, and it actually found that strained sibling relationships are actually a branch off of strained parental relationships. So usually the child lacks that connection with
Mm-hmm.
one or both parents, and that lack of connection inhibits them from understanding what a healthy relationship should look like with their sibling. Because if I can't even get what I need from my mommy and daddy,
Yeah.
who is this person, and why is it that I'm supposed to get along with you and, you know, love you a certain way,
Ooh,
like, you
come
know. And
through. Okay, come through with the article. Okay.
it was so crazy because I will say it's been a struggle. I've always wondered why, like, my sister and I, our relationship has been so strained. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not to say, like, at the end of the day, well, I don't think she knows this because she says I don't. But anybody you ask will tell you, there has never been a time like my sister has called and said she needed me that
You
I
didn't
have
show
not
up.
shown up.
Yeah.
It may not have been the way that she wanted to, but I mean, I'm that person. Like, I may not be the we're gonna sit around and hang out, and I may not be traveling back and forth. But the moment you call me and say,
I need
I need you,
you.
I don't care what's going on, we're gonna figure it out. So I could never figure out why she still felt this way. Like there was this strain, and she does bring up like my relationships with my friends, and she
Mm,
compares the way that I treat her to the way that I treat them.
mm,
And
mm.
I know it's her perception and she's allowed to have her own perception of it, but it's just like I don't get it. But reading that article, it helped
Yeah.
me because I've been trying not to take it personally, because it's like I know that in our later years I have been a great sister to you. Now I may not have been your best friend like you wanted me to, but I mean, we've never been best friends, so we're not going to just randomly be that now. However, I mean, I have even fighting in the streets for this girl because she started, like, you know. But it's all like I've always been there for you. I've always been the one that'll ride for you, like, no matter what is going on. And so that article, reading it, was like it released me from the responsibility of needing to fix it, because it's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I know my parents. are not going to want to hear this or see this or admit this,
Name
bless them
the
for it.
names.
Oh, no, no, I'm talking about my parents. I know they're not going to want to, accept that responsibility. We're still working on them and the benefits of therapy. They don't see that yet. But I being able to hand that responsibility off, like, this was never my weight to carry. Like, this is y'all's. This was your responsibility. And even now, it's up to them to fix it,
Mm.
because it's the dynamic that they hold within the relationships with us, even to this day. Just so, yes, it is a parenting responsibility to foster healthy sibling relationship. And when you don't put that energy and effort into your relationships with your children, it affects every relationship they have for the rest of their fucking life. Like,
Jesus.
literally.
Okay. Now, because because we are simultaneously living our experiences, reliving our past while raising our own kids, right? And so in that paradigm, I look at like, okay, what are the things that we're talking about now about our parents? What are the things that, like, relationships that we have? What are these things now that we're dealing with that we may be putting onto our kids? And like, how much of that is in our control? How much of it is that they just gonna have to go pay somebody the same way we're doing it and figure that shit out themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I look at it in that way too, because I'm like, I can definitely look back and be like, yeah, mom, because why you always had us pitted against each other, you know? And there was this bit of competition of like, or well, not everyone is as smart as you, Sha'Rose, or don't be so nerdy, because then you make people feel bad, versus building up both my nerdiness and also my sister's lack of care. She didn't care to do the shit that I was doing, okay? We
Yeah.
are two different people. She didn't want to drive because she said she was going to find a man that's going to drive her around. And she did, okay? Like, I don't want to drive either, but I at least got a license.
Oh, she has got a license at
She don't got
all?
no license to this day.
That is commitment to a cause, if I have ever heard it,
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
I said we were raised in the same house, but we are two different people.
That's
and
funny.
and that's
Yeah.
okay. So it's like, yes, as parents, we do need to foster this identity of like, you are two different people. Yes, you're siblings, but like, we do have some responsibility to it. Now, I will say sometimes I'm like, this is not my responsibility, Like, my kids will get into it and I'm just like, that's a kid-sized problem. Y'all can handle it. This is not my responsibility to do this, because I'm also not the one that's going to step in and fix all your issues.
Mhm.
Right? So there is a space where like, we have to look back and take accountability, but also we have to have our parents have to take accountability too. And then as a parent being like, I can't fix all of their issues, especially knowing that I have whatever trigger around siblings for my kids. I still do have to, as my job as a parent is, build it within them to understand what they want to do, how they want that relationship to be. My children are very codependent right now. I know that's going to change once one of them goes through puberty and the other one's not there yet,
Mhm.
And I can't force that. I can't make him take his little brother with him everywhere he goes.
Right.
That's not right. But I also can say, hey, y'all have to figure this out. You need to understand where you want your brother in your life, and I can foster that part of it, which
Yeah.
is, like those expectations.
Mhm.
That I feel is where I'm at with my son. Was like, well, me and my sister, we've gotten to this place, like, we do have, like, I'm not gonna lend you no money because I don't trust you. You're not gonna give it back to me. Um, but will I come over and can you feed me and my children? Absolutely. Like,
Mhm.
we manage that expectation of like, I'll respond to your messages, not necessarily the same day, but I will respond to them. Um, and you can ask me stuff and we can have these conversations and kiki and laugh about the things mom and our stepdad used to do. Like, we can do that stuff. That wasn't stuff we used to be able to do.
Mhm.
While my relationship with my younger brother, who's 4 years younger than me, oh, he was my ride or die. That was my baby. And now we don't even talk. I won't answer his messages. He's blocked and restricted on most of my social medias. Okay? Relationships change, but
Mhm.
I can see where maybe my mom could have come in and guided us a little bit better, but also where he made the choices that he made, and I put up the boundaries that I needed in order to support him how I could and still have a relationship.
Mhm.
And so, like, that's what I look at. is like, okay, where do I take responsibility and when do I say, nah, y'all gonna have to figure this out on your own?
Yeah. And I do think that kids should be given the space to deal with conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do not recall that being something that we just were allowed to work through. It was always, you gotta treat your sister better than you treat everybody else. Like
Yeah.
you don't treat family
Yeah.
this way. Um, and I mean that even goes down to like what you said about identity. I know, I know. My daddy always wanted a boy. Um, my
You
name,
got two girls.
okay, my name was supposed to be Patrick Jr. So it was a real shock. But my sister was always like the tomboy, the rough one,
Uh,
and so they fed into her when they got that, and I was always, oh, you got too much attitude, you're too prissy,
mm,
you're too much of a girl, Jasmine. Nobody wants to deal with that. Or
yeah.
even my interests and my hobbies, like my sister was like gymnastics, and I mean I played sports too, but like basketball and things like that, where I lean more towards, I wanted to dance, I
Mm,
wanted to play
mm,
softball, but we we always ended up investing more in the things that she enjoyed. um And so it was just like I had to shift. Like if I
yeah.
wanted to play sports, then I had to play basketball. You know, like if I dancing was out of the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, church. Bless Jesus. Um, so it was, you have to foster the individual identities and let them know difference is what makes things interesting.
Literally.
Like
Yeah.
if everybody was the same, life would be so freaking boring. It's what makes you unique, and you should not feel less than because you guys are not the same. You are meant to be unique. You are meant to be your own person. You're meant to have your
Mm-hmm.
own interests. But where a relationship comes from is enjoying other people's interests with them, even if
Yes.
it's not yours. Like, okay, so maybe your older son, I mean, and this is just me saying stuff, maybe your oldest boy, maybe he is into like art and creative stuff, but the little one, he's more of the destructive, let's tear things apart and put
Girls,
them
like,
back together.
you know my kids.
But it shouldn't
uh,
be, it should be a great thing. Both
mm-hmm.
of those interests should be fostered in their own individual ways. And hey, you want to spend some time with your brother? Come over here and see what he's
Yep.
creating. You want to spend some time with your brother over here? Let's go outside and let's just tear things
My
apart.
God.
And all of it can be fun. All of it can be exciting. And everybody gets to live within their own identity, you know?
Yes. It's this space, it's this feeling of like praising, uplifting, celebrating someone without it taking anything away from you.
Hmm.
And I don't feel like as parents sometimes we're able to even do that because this baby came along and took a lot away from me, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm chopped liver compared to this baby at some points. And that is a battle that I mean, I know I personally had to go through. I know we've talked about even your journey of figuring out who am I after this kid and like your own identity. But it starts so much younger than that when you're taught how to celebrate another
Yeah.
person or how to respond to another person's accomplishments or how people respond to your accomplishments where it's like, okay, you got AB honor roll, that's fine,
Mhm.
nerd, like, okay, I have a little bit of something around that. Okay, clearly I was a nerd. Okay, I had my glasses and my books and I was a nerd. But that's how we kind of figure out this stuff. We have people who are just they're more out and just extroverted and energy and just and sometimes they soak up more attention,
Mhm.
and that's okay. And there's the people who they're great, they're maybe more quiet, they don't necessarily like grab the attention, but they still deserve it.
Mhm.
And so when you have kids and you see that difference in them and you don't necessarily foster it and being like, okay, well, we get that you're this big personality, but let's tone it down a little to celebrate this other person
Yeah.
because we're going to always celebrate you,
Mm.
you know? Like making sure that you understand there's a space to celebrate someone, uplift them while it takes nothing away from you. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that I feel like is where it gets really tricky. Um and I have this issue sometimes with my oldest where he'll say, um, he'll be like, well, you don't know this? Why don't you know this? And I'm just like, okay, well, he's 3 years younger than you, you know,
Mhm.
that's why he doesn't know this. But also, but it's okay. You didn't know it at that time either. It doesn't take anything away from him to not know this. And now the 3 year response, he's like, I just don't know it yet. He's like, he doesn't feel any type of way about it. He's just like, I haven't learned that yet. I'm still learning.
Mhm. And I love that.
Yeah,
You're teaching him
yeah,
to be sure of himself, like even in places where you don't know, like things are different and foreign. He's open to learning, and the way I love the way that you have him, not have him, but the way that you've because of how you responded to certain things that his older brother has said, it's given him the courage to be able to say no, no,
yeah,
I'm not here, we're not on the same level at this moment, but I will get there.
yeah.
And I do love that.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. It's seeing them and their dynamics and me being like, because I would be like, no, you're just not a competition. Okay. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to. And we really do have to check ourselves sometimes and be like, this isn't how they need to learn this it's a skill. This isn't how they need to learn the skill.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It is hard because like, well, this is what I remember. And it's being like, yeah, and that's okay. I can do different than what I remember or how I was taught or how I was brought up.
Hmm.
And that's the hard part of being in this damn space of like healing our own damn selves. Because kids are big ass triggers. Okay. I have a very vocal 6 year old who, when he is not listened to, has these big emotions. But when he is not listening to someone else's feelings and emotions, feels bad that he got in trouble for it. And it's like, people are going to tell you exactly what they need. And we've had to help this he's outgoing 3 year old, but he struggles to say his needs clearly.
Hmm.
And so he has to be like, no, I don't want to do it. So he'll run and cry to us. He's like, oh, he did this. It's like, okay, what do you want to say to him? To stop. It's like, okay, you go in there and you say, stop. I don't like it. I won't play with you. And he has to go back and repeat that to his brother. And it's like, otherwise, and I remember it being like, would you just get yelled at as an older kid?
Hmm.
Stop treating your brother like that. Did you
Yes.
hear? Why are you making him cry? What did you do to him? Versus teaching him, hey, how to speak up for yourself,
Hmm.
and then teaching him like, yeah, that's still not cool though. You know, are you listening to what he's saying? Do you hear what he's telling you?
Hmm.
And that's a big conversation we have daily.
Yeah. I mean, but those are great skills, and I mean, looking back on it, yeah, there was a lot of yelling and a lot of reprimanding towards
Yep.
me. You're the oldest. You
Yep.
need to know and see and be responsive and proactive about your siblings' needs. And it's like
I'm not an
we-
adult.
we're literally 2 years apart. I barely know what I need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this wild space, like when we talk about sibling relationships of like, man, it's a tough dynamic. It's a relationship like any other. And I just feel like, damn, I just don't want to be in all these relationships with people. Like
Girl, there's so much work.
it's so much work. Um, it's and I will sometimes have to have my husband check me and be like, was I too rude? Was I too mean? Like, and have him go like, hey, can you do some damage control? Because I don't know if I said that properly. And
Mhm.
like truly be concerned about how I'm talking to my sister or my brother because it would be reckless sometimes, not go lie. And sometimes I let it stay. I let it stay. And I'd be like, no, we get a yelling matches, but at the end of it, we reconcile and say, you know what? You're right. You're right a little bit. I hear what you're saying. And that's the difference that as adults we've been able to do. But man, as kids, oh, we would go back and forth till somebody hit somebody. And that was the way you reconciled it.
Mhm. That's crazy. And I think for me, it was completely different. I knew. I was going to be the one to get in trouble. So I would be quiet and I would go to my room.
Mm.
It was just like, okay, she's right. I'm wrong. I'm going to just go over here and sit down. And the crazy thing is, up until having my child, that's how I would handle everything.
Oh,
I've
hell no.
always, girl, it, I've always taken the weight and the responsibility of managing relationships
Yeah.
fully.
Yeah.
Like I always felt like it was my fault. I'm not doing something right. I need to be better. I need to be the one to change me. And mishandling sibling relationships, like when they're little, if you don't pay attention, that's lifelong damage that you cause.
Mhm.
Because honey, the therapy that it took for me to get to this place where it's like, it's not my responsibility. Like relationships go two ways.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna carry your end, I'm just gonna put it down because it's just too heavy.
Mm.
Like I'm not going to take it all on. And it wasn't until having my son, because I very quickly realized I don't have capacity to deal with all of this
Sure don't.
that everybody is throwing at me. Um, because I gotta keep this little person alive. And quite frankly, I'm barely even remembering what today is. And you
Oof.
want me to remember to protect your feelings and tiptoe around your needs, and you're not even really checking in on me. Like you're not even really putting in the effort that you want me to give you. And so
Mm.
boundaries, when I say setting those boundaries, girl, people can't stand me right now. But it it is what it is.
Boundaries are, that's one thing when I went off to college, I very first learned boundaries. Okay. And look, we can do a whole episode on mom relationships because, whoo, Lord, that might be 2, 3 weeks. But um, setting boundaries and learning what they are because they seem so scary, they seem so distant and like disconnected. Like you really try to put a space in between it, but really it's this it's this voice that you didn't have.
Mhm.
And when you start using it, the people who took advantage of you not using your voice really push back. They really get upset because their whole space and role was taking advantage of the fact that you didn't know how to use your voice properly.
And they
And they
benefited from
benefited
it because
from it. So now you know how to use your voice, or you're learning. You're learning how to use it. It might not be perfect. Boundaries can shift and change, but you're figuring it out and they don't like it. So those are usually the people you get the biggest pushback from when you put a boundary in place. It could be the smallest thing of like, I'm just not going to talk to you every day. Can we talk to each other every other day? Oh, now you don't care about me. You know,
yeah.
that is like, it's the smallest shift because they can see the difference that's happening and how their position in your life is changing. So
Mhm.
no, boundaries are tough, but man, it's allowed me to then make space and capacity for the things that I can have and I can give to you and I can enjoy and celebrate with you. So
Yep.
like I'm not taking on and responsible for everything. Here's my boundary. This is what I'm responsible for. So I can then these things that I am, I can do really good at
Mhm.
that. We can have a really good relationship and we can kiki and laugh in all these spaces, but we stop there,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that is where, we're looking at siblings and raising and for you're not raising siblings yet, ever. We don't know.
The dog, I'm not gonna lie to you, the child and the dog fight like they are
That is
related.
real.
And I'm not calling them siblings, but I do have two children, and you've witnessed it.
I've seen it.
You
Yeah,
witnessed
no,
it.
that is real.
But
No,
yeah.
my oldest and our dog that my mother-in-law has is like that. Like you literally be like, why are you looking at each other? Get away from him. Leave him alone. And we talking to a dog and a damn
And
child.
you have
Okay.
that's so crazy to me because I have to tell the child and the respect each other's space.
Yes. So
Like,
yes. Yes. It's real. It's so real. It's real. Okay. No. We go even the dog parents out there, we get
oh my
it.
goodness.
But yeah, so what then what things would you give people? Like we done told our stories. We done gave them the real. We did give some solutions in there, but like, how would you say? What would be your biggest takeaway of like someone raising siblings, but also your experience with a sibling?
Love each child loudly for
Mm,
exactly who they are. Um, and I, I think that in itself,
mm-hmm.
instead of trying to shape your child's identity, your child, they're born with their
They gonna
own.
tell you.
They are who they are the day they arrive. And you can't you can't change it. You can, but in your effort to change it, you break down that relationship with themselves, and that then affects their relationship with their siblings.
Yeah.
So just focusing on loving each child as they are for who they are and investing in who they are, that you raise a child that is sure of themselves
Mm.
and have no reason to not be okay with their their siblings, because I know who I am, I know who you are, we're all great, love it.
Uh, I love that. My takeaway would be raising your children, and I feel like I do feel like this can go for young kids, this can go for adult kids, because I swear to you, there's not going to be any adult child that gets a message or a talk with their parents that says, I'm so sorry for how I reacted with your sibling relationship. I swear there will be no adult that's like, oh my gosh, you're taking responsibility and, ownership, unless they really just don't know how to, maybe they need therapy. Anyway, but treating your children
Yeah.
equitably, okay? Equitably, not equally, because you can't possibly treat your children equally. Well, you got it, so you got to get it. They did this, so you got to do this. Equality does not work when you have children who have different personalities or they're just different people.
Mm-hmm.
Equitable, understanding that in this phase of life, I might need to put more time and energy into your sibling. But in this phase of life, you might get that. And there may be a time where y'all are equally getting my attention and your girl is stressed. Okay. But equitable, because too many times it feels like being able to put attention or time or energy, money even into one child feels like you're taking something away from the other,
Yeah.
versus understanding that no, the resources are here. This child just needs more of it at this time. But I guarantee you that at some time you're going to need it as
Mm-hmm.
well. And just understanding and being able to support them in that space. That's what I say. Equality versus, excuse me, equity versus equality.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Um, oh, friend. Okay, the waterfall stopped. Okay, I think I did a great job.
You
I
did.
did
You
not have my tissue
did.
present.
You held it together.
Oh my goodness, but we want to hear y'all stories. We love being able to share and bring this stuff to you, the real conversations of being a mom, being a whole human, in the world that we have lived and are experiencing now. So you can email us at physiophithsv@gmail.com. Our social medias are physiophithsv on Instagram and Facebook. You can DM us. We want to hear your stories. We want to share them. We're going to keep bringing them to you. Okay. As you can see, we have so much to talk about.
And if you're tired of hearing about us, tell us about you.
That's right. Tell us about you so that we can tell you more about us. Okay.
Okay.
But yes, we are so, okay. We are a week out from Birth to Bounce Back, Fred.
We are.
We're a week
I'm excited.
out.
Nervous,
Okay.
excited, all of the feelings.
We just sent out the questions for our panelists this morning. Okay, we're going to bring you some great information. Honestly, I would love for us to do a conversation of like mom stories, but you know what? That's going to be a future event. We going to bring it to you at some other time.
Absolutely.
But Birth to Bounce Back, y'all, we're so close. We want y'all there April 12th, 2 to 5. I know there's a lot of stuff happening in the city. You can make this another one of your things. Just like pop in, get the resources, bring dad, bring your partner, bring the kids. There's so much available. Um, yeah, yeah, Fred. Can you believe we're so close?
No, it honestly, it feels so real. Even seeing her advertisement on the Orion's website, like I was like, oh, we're up
And
there. That's so wild.
Rock City Moms dropped it today.
Did
They
they? I
did.
had to look at it.
They did. Yeah. Okay, we out here. All right, we are out here. And
I know.
we're we're just so glad that y'all are here. And be sure if you're watching this recap on our YouTube channel, thank you. Go ahead and subscribe. We would love that. But please, please, please check out the rest of our other recordings. We're going to keep bringing these conversations to you.
Yep. So y'all get tired of us.
And then
Oh
even
no.
still after
Yeah.
that. All right. Well, bye, friends.
Bye.